6 o'clock. Should we get rolling with everyone here? Yeah. All right. Call to order at 6 o'clock. Quick question before we do attendance roll call. Is Dwight reappointed?
Not yet.
Okay. Do we know what the holdup is?
I don't know for sure. I don't know if it's in regards to if this committee will be merged with senior services, because I know that was a topic, but
okay.
I don't think if that's been revisited.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. That'd be a question for supervisors to enforce.
All right. I will add that to my list. Sorry, Dwighters.
We're glad you still come, though.
I will follow up with Ryan this week and see what's happening.
You're the only person you have in the comeback, if that makes you special.
So special, you get to see that pie. All right, so attendance roll call. You don't have to include Dwight. That was that question was ahead of there.
Carolyn Ward.
Here.
Mark Simzak, present. Adam Mottry.
Here.
Leslie Hagan. Present. Cheryl Kellerman.
Here. All right. Oh, and we do have one vacancy still, so if anyone does know someone, they can always send them this way, and or if we find out that committees are going to be combined, then we will go from there. All right, so a motion to approve the agenda and or amend it if anyone has anything to add to it.
I so move.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? All right, any opposed? None. All right. So approval of minutes. We've got the January ones that Carolyn sent today, and our mayor, thank you for rewatching it so that you can expect a bonus of the recording. And then we have the ones from March from May that we submitted last month before the meeting. And then so we're just missing the ones from April, which are lost in the interwebs somewhere. But Dwight is going to go into them and hopefully come out of the matrix alive with the minutes. All right, so do the motion to approve the minutes for January and May of 2024 as submitted.
You're looking for a list of support.
Motion.
Also,
All right, I will second to. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. All right. So for those, so Carolyn, because you took the January ones, you'll have to sign them and submit them in. That comes just to the front office.
You don't have to actually physically sign them.
Oh, you don't have to.
But I put your name on them. Just yeah. The only ones that we physically signed are board receipts. So.
Oh, okay. Perfect. And then Mark has the May ones. So January is done, May is done, and then we won't have June ones because we didn't have a quorum last week. We just had last month we just had a discussion. So we'll just table the April ones. So I guess I need to make a motion for that. Is that correct? Make a motion. Okay. So we'll table the minutes for April until next month. All right. We will revisit them. In August already. All right. Any disclosure of conflicts of interest? Any public comment germane to the agenda? Nope.
everybody looks at Dwight.
All right, so old business. So Upton Roads, we've got a pretty similar agenda as we did last month because we mostly had a discussion and then we had a couple little additions or changes for who was responsible for them, but otherwise it's pretty similar. So we're continuing to talk about the Upton Road site conversation. We have the Williams & Works proposal. We had some conversations last month about that. And I think the big things that came out of it, as in my notes, were to say that we had talked about possibly the township surveying all of the township's property. Has that changed or moved forward, or we're still kind of there?
I did not talk to Beth specifically about this property.
Okay.
I'll put that in my notes today.
I didn't expect that we would hear anything.
Yeah, we're kind of working through this Park Lake Trail property and its nuances, I guess. So that's probably our next survey.
Okay.
I'll bring that up to Beth.
Okay. So for those of you that weren't here last month, part of it was this under one of them is like a drone survey of the property, and the township had been talking about possibly surveying all of the properties that the township owns to try to get everything kind of up to speed in that. And so we had said, like, let's hold off on going back to Waves and Works and saying, oh yeah, we want a drone survey if the township was already going to be. Why pay for that if the township was already going to be, paying for those types of things? So, I would start on here that we all said last month that, before we move forward, a detailed survey is definitely something that's desired for that property. So that any kind of drawings or plans or phases or anything like that is within the bounds of what we need to know the property boundaries, and sort of the other details we had said at the last, I think you talked about the well, like do we know that the well does or doesn't, either way it doesn't matter, but does or doesn't work out there, sort of what is in that pile, is it, or the hill, I guess not the pile, is it soil or is it rocks, kind of thing, so.
I don't know if I mentioned this last month, but there was a concept done in this, and it was in 2003. There may be a survey already done for it.
Okay.
So I'll check with Beth.
You check, okay.
On that too. If there's already something, there's no sense in doing it again.
Right, it's not like it's changed.
Right. It's just
that amount of time.
Open space. So.
Yeah, okay. So.
I don't know how far they got with that project.
Right, if they just had that drawing with the fields and. Is there any, like, it's not, it would be called the statute of limitations, but are there any kind of statute of limitations or whatever it would be called in terms of surveys? Like, if it was done at this point, as long as the property didn't change hands, as long as there were no additions or boundary adjustments, it seems like it's not something that needs to be done again.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing has changed on it since.
Okay. Right.
It's just trees.
Yes, yeah. Not hard infrastructure. Greenery. Okay. So we talked about if okay, so we've got this. It's a whole proposal. We aren't making any decisions on it right now. I think that's clear to say. So one of the things that we talked about is, and they talked about in here, is a phasing in, and that they would present phases to it. And one of the things that we talked about is the primary phase, or the first phase, would be that sort of walking trail, sort of around the outside. Thinking about something, and you two were here last month. If I'm not saying my notes are misnoted, holler. I think one of the things you said is it's like that makes sense on a first phase. One, because we've heard people want from the survey, the 5-year survey, that people want like places to walk, ride, and roll, and that if nothing, and if we did that, if ideally more phases would happen, but if that was the only phase that happened, it would still be something that is usable as an open space where people could still exercise in that way. Is that okay?
That's what I remember.
Okay, great. Again, we're not doing anything with this yet, but one of the things that we all said we liked is that they have phasing in of design and kind of a refining of it so that they would do kind of bigger, they say 3 preliminary design, then we could have some conversations. We'd take it down to 2 that we preferred, that they would work on a little more, and then we could take it down to 1 that would be sort of like the big final one, and then we talked about, do we want to revisit the one that was already drawn, have that as a starting point for them, and then we would be using the 5-year plan to guide sort of what we thought about and what they thought about there. So. And what we also have, what I started on here too, is that they proposed a planning level probable costs in a park phasing plan. So that was something that we were also very excited about. One, the phasing, but also the potential costs that would go along the budget on the last page, which had a bunch of different options. You know, they're at 15, just over 15 is a base, and we also said this is from August of last year, so it most likely will change, but a little over 15K at the base, that we wouldn't need the drone flyover and robust trail planning options if the survey was updated for the drone flyover, and if we were thinking about just sort of the one loop trail around to start. So that is another, that was 8,200 that we would nix off there. And then we did like the idea of, they talked about doing 2 pop-up events and a community open house, similar to how they did the 5-year rec plan. That seemed to get both a lot of data and good data. And so, you know, when we put all through the 2 that we said we probably don't need, but the other 3 that were somewhere in the less than 25K, so it would be a little bit more, you know, it would be more, probably more in the 25K or 25K range if we decided to go with this. And again, we're not making any plans or anything right now, but that was just sort of a summary of what we all talked about last time. So.
Has there been any feedback or input from the trustees?
So we haven't gone and taken anything just because we just looked at this the last week, so, or last month, sorry.
So once we get a decision on the survey, then we can take the next step, design your plan.
I think that makes sense, to at least have a conversation, present this to them, say, you know, this is something that has been, you know, brought up. That site's been there a long time, with half of the future park side there. There's a space that can be developed. One of the priorities was, you know, developing existing parkland, thinking about places that sort of the older kids, you know, and young adults would have a place in the community that we don't currently have a lot of things for, would be able to have a space to go to. So just kind of present like each of these decisions as being guided by that 5-year rec plan. And I think just like anything, you know, we need to, if we're going to do something there, we need to have a general budget and idea of what that looks like, so that we can then start thinking about, you know, what would we ask the township for, how would we include it in the DNR trust fund or other grant proposals, what would the township, you know, based on the total amount and the phasing, does that make sense to the township trustees? And then I think, you know, and if so, sort of, you know, then I think it's just starting to talk about budget, you know, what does the budget look like, what does the township either want to contribute, have to contribute, is willing to contribute, and then sort of what does that look like in terms of matching requirements for grants, overall costs, different phases, like that would be, I think, you know, plan. Does that make sense on everyone?
Would it be inappropriate to go back doing the work and ask them to update this proposal with current costs?
No, I can do that.
Would they have a proposal for us to give to the trustees, or is that something that we would develop?
That's what this is that we're working on. So I would just need them to give me an updated price.
Would we give this to the trustees in document form, or just a
It'd probably be a presentation.
presentation?
So probably written in,
Yes.
visual/verbal.
Written would probably be in the packet. Presentation would probably be at the meeting.
Yeah. So Taylor, you have to talk to them and see about an updated.
Yes, I can email them this week.
All right, perfect. We can let them know that we're working on trying to figure out what, if we have a survey or that, so that may or may not be something included, but if they had them, like in here, their options, so. Great. All right, so any questions on this right now? All right. All right, so moving on. Any farmers market updates?
We are rocking and rolling. We have about 8 also, I'm planning on doing the anniversary market on the 25th. Tara is going to do some sort of goodie again from Two Sweets.
Awesome.
I already contacted her. And by then, which is here to talk about later, the new rap coordinator will be here, so that will be next.
Perfect. Any primary questions? Okay. Any Heart Lake Trail updates, if there's any changes or if not?
We received the updated proposal from Park Lake Advisory. I believe that will be part of this coming board meeting a week from today. So that should be on the agenda. I'll have to double check on that, make sure that that is indeed what is happening. It's going to be a pretty packed agenda since it's our only meeting this month, but I'm assuming that that will be a priority.
There, I met with an engineer and surveyor from Spicer today regarding this, the property down there, and they're hoping they will have a CAD drawing of all the easements and all the road right of ways and everything that is existing. I don't know if they're gonna be, we'd like one of their staff to present at the board meeting. I don't know if it's gonna happen at this next one. We were checking on availability, they didn't let me know, but they have a drawing to hopefully clear everything, all the misunderstandings and all the misinformation that's been out there, to clear all that up once and for all.
Here it is. This is
From
what it
the
is.
engineering firm that designed it, the concept trail in the first place.
Yeah.
So,
Sounds good. Any questions about that? No? Okay, fine, do it here, huh? All right, so, Taylor, you're the prep coordinator?
Yes, so just to update everyone, we have hired someone. Adam and I conducted interviews with 2 candidates. We had reached out to 3, but only 2 responded. So the candidate that we selected, her name is Naomi. She'll be starting a week from today. She's a recent graduate from Grand Valley State with a major in sports management. She already has quite a bit of experience for just being a graduate. She's worked for City of Holland Recreation for the last 3 years, and has, as of this last year, been in a supervisory role with them. So she has quite a bit of experience with managing programs, managing volunteers, and quite a large recreation department as well. They have quite a few leagues and sports for kids, sports for adults, so she's had quite a bit of experience already. Farmers market will be something new for her, but she seems like a go-getter, so I have no concerns with her taking that on. So obviously when she first gets here, it's going to be a lot of learning for the first couple months and being thrown right into the middle of market season. But we'll be here to help her along, and she will be in attendance for the August meeting.
When did you say she starts?
A week from today.
The 15th. I think she's going to be great. I'm super excited about her. Any questions on that? All right. So Bath Days / Summer Community Festival / name to be determined. Just update. So we talked last time, again, but just in discussion. So there's been for a number of years, a lot of people who are interested in having something happen. I'm going to meet, there's a meeting thing out right now, due to a poll trying to figure out when it is, but there are some initial people who have organized things in the community already that are ready to do some stuff. So from our perspective, in terms of the township and our role as a board, I've told them the township is not running this. We are not interested in running this. We are not interested in owning it. We are not interested in collecting any revenue from it. But what we can do from the township side is do some things similar to what happens with the summer solstice festival. So things like if there are tents or tables that need to be loaned out, if there's like, not that we will be like, here's insurance, but like have discussions around what a like rider looks like on the township's insurance policy, all those types of things, that those are things that the township is interested in having a conversation about. And then that if any of us are interested, not as representatives of the township, but as individual citizens who live in Bath and want to see things happen, that like I will let everyone know after this initial meeting, like, hey, this is what they want to do, this is what they're thinking, and kind of, I think, start to form, if it goes forward, start to form like a bigger committee and decide what that all starts to look like. If whatever it is, it most likely will not be called Bath Days, since that is an owned, named entity. But I think that it's been a while. People have had a lot of conversations with the Bath Days folks. And people want to see some things happen, so we'll see where it goes. I think that they're, interested in starting fairly small, to some tub races and a few other things, either like a Friday evening and then Saturday, nothing Sunday, but none of those things have been decided at all. So, yeah,
Nice, that's exciting.
it is exciting.
Does that mean that police and fire can't be involved in it if the township's not?
The township,
So the
the township just isn't running it.
Right,
Yes,
okay.
so,
But they could still do it.
Yeah, it's the same as before.
Yeah.
The township isn't running it.
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone's saying.
Yeah, because the township never ran it, so they were involved.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that would be, I think that they would want to be
That's the
involved.
last time after it
This
was.
could be our first.
Yeah.
And usually with an event that big, usually we have like our reserve officers go down there anyways and get control and make sure everything's safe.
Give everybody
Yeah.
that.
They'll get to do the car wash and.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, who knows, maybe parks or maybe recreation will need to have a tub in the race.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the farm department won it
All right.
last time they had it, so,
Okay.
yeah.
That's some experience.
I'm a good pusher. All right, so I will keep everyone posted with that, and again, I would imagine if it moves forward, that at some point, however the committee starts to look, or organization, or whatever structure they decide on, that at some point they may come here and talk to us, or come to the BOT meeting and talk to them, or that, but I think that, and they're thinking obviously not about this year, it would be next summer. So. All right, any updates, Ben?
Sure.
You're up next.
I got a couple, not a whole lot. Our sidewalks or crosswalks are done. At least the concrete work. I'm not sure about the signage and the striping on the roads. There's the one at the creamery and one at the boat launch going to Wiswasser Park. The concrete's done and cured. They're working on sidewalks downtown right now, making a mess. But hopefully that turns out nice.
I drove by there yesterday to drop my kid off, and they looked like they were, so they look good.
We started a little bit of restoration on the cupola, stripping and painting it, and repairing, I guess, painting the repairs that they did last year. I'm not sure the status on that since it was a short week and I was off all week, but hopefully that is moving along. I sent a couple emails out to get updated pricing for the board in place. Hopefully we can get that scheduled like end of summer when kids go back to school and that's not getting as much use. And that's about it for parks. I did have a question. Our CIPs are due tomorrow. Right now we have the kayak launch still active, the boat launch, parking lot restoration, and the bathroom at the beach. Is there anything that you want to change or you want to keep all those projects active in the because they'll get rescored.
So there's the kayak launch,
Yep.
the parking lot at the boat launch, or at the Wiswasser at the boat launch. Okay. And then the bathroom and
Yeah.
and is that still a composting bathroom, or was that a?
Right now it is. I know there was, I don't know the extent of it, there was,
Last year, there were suggestions about wanting it to become plumbing, but I don't think it
do think that I didn't do it last year because I thought it was just gonna kind of go into the budget. But it didn't, which is the parking lot for Wisconsin Park. And that really needs to happen. I am gonna put one in, I'll write it up tomorrow and turn it in, but, that parking lot really needs to happen as soon as we can, so our workplace stays as nice as possible for as long as we can.
That's the one that we have engineering, correct?
We did have an engineer,
Okay.
it's already done.
Yeah.
And I got a quote on it last year, and I had put that in my budget request, but it didn't get picked up in the.
Because you're talking about doing that before doing
Yeah.
the replace, because all of that runs onto there. and
Yeah.
it's Awesome for it.
So, we need to get that shored up as quickly as we can afterwards.
Yeah. And that is not current, that Wisconsin one is not currently a CIP.
Right. So, and I just thought of that today, so.
Yeah. So we've got 3 in with possible 4. How is the committee feeling in terms of keeping those in, taking any out, and/or adding a 4th one in? Is there any harm in leaving them in? They just get scored again?
Nope, and,
Right.
yeah, they just get rescored and reevaluated with our other projects that are going on in the township. And these are all non-discretionary, so,
Right.
or discretionary.
Yeah.
So obviously, non-discretionary is a priority, like sewage and building.
Please do.
I got it.
Yeah.
I think I support it. Yeah. And move forward.
Yeah, the 4th in.
Yeah.
So
I think
you-
really harm, but
Do you support adding a 4th in there?
yeah.
Let's see on that, Carolyn? Feels that way, Cheryl? Yeah.
Doesn't hurt to have them in. It's not like scoring for one takes away scoring from another one. It's like,
But I
get that project in front of
that would be
their eyes again. Yeah, I agree.
Refresh my memory on the kayak launch.
That was an engineered, like a floating ADA kayak launch that was, intended to put next to the boat launch or somewhere on that property. It would be something that we would take in and out every year. But I think it's like 40 feet long out into the water, and then it tees off into a kind of a ramp, which is wheelchair accessible, and then there's rails that you can pull, with your arms to pull the kayaks up on.
And then usually there's a bench that slides out so that people that need to kind of scoop themselves under.
Thank you.
And there's actually, I might reach out and get another quote for that, because there's a new boat dock facility.
Oh, yeah, where-
You know,
Metal Works was? Yeah.
and that's what, they build custom docks and things like that, so they might have something in their standard orders to do that.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense too, because, I mean, the kayak launches aren't just for PDA, you know, there's like
Right.
everybody, and you don't have to get in and try to stand and get one foot in and
Tip
flip over. Yeah,
Oh, and
exactly.
you know, it could extend the season for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't want to tip over in, March.
Yeah. Or November.
Or after we're dry season.
Right. Yep.
So I think that's another good idea.
Okay, great. So, sounds like we are good to add that 4th one in and keep them in there. So, thanks for doing that. Any recreation updates besides hiring Naomi?
Hiring, and then, looking forward, kind of end of this month, beginning of August, we'll start pushing out information for flag football, for early fall. And then hopefully as Naomi gets started, we can start, working on some programming for the winter months and bringing some new programs.
Awesome. It's all, oh, go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say, soccer.
Yeah, I put it on the website
Thank
already
you.
and on the sign.
Perfect, I saw that, I was like,
When did I start back up?
yes, it starts around August 19th that week. And so registration's up and running, there's about 20 kids registered so far, and so, it's open until the beginning of August there. I try to keep them as late as possible without burying myself in things some time of year and all that, but, yeah, so it's good to go. we talked of ways with soccer club and how to get more kids. Because we always find that we double in the spring versus the fall. And I think it's because kids start school, and then they're like, oh, there's sports for this young age, and they discover it. And so we decided that we're going to, for U6, we're going to go to the kindergarten roundup next year. And then we're going to pass out flyers there to the parents, things like that. So we kind of let them know, like, this is programs that are available, and as we can sign up and things like that. So, yeah. So, anyway, it's going right now. Thank you so much for putting that. I saw it up the board when I drove by. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
I happened to see it, and I was perusing the queue.
It was nice.
Did the concession stand work out down there at all?
I don't actually think they ever even ran it. They decided just to wait till the fall, because we waited so long, and so decided to just start it up right in the middle. We just waited, so. But yeah, it is gonna work out there. They pulled it down there, and it looks good, and it's all organized, ready to go, so it's great. Yes,
That's great.
thank you guys.
And so you all know too, during the interview, one of the things that we talked with Naomi about is experience with like technology running registrations. And so thinking about like moving things incrementally forward.
Yeah, that's another update. I'm working on getting contracts signed for not only a website update, but also implementing recreation software. So I'm kind of just right now finalizing who I want to choose, because I have 2 vendors, and then getting that signed for the beginning of next month at the latest.
Woohoo.
Yeah. So
Happy first
the goal
day
is
for
to
you.
have the recreation software in place by the beginning of next year, so that the first big one that we can push it out fully for is Little Summers and baseball, so.
Great. That is good news. Cool. Thank you for working on that.
Yeah.
All right. Any public comment on any topic?
I'll say that, so you're talking about the Bath Days Festival. It reminded me that the Friends of Park Lake, they had a solstice event planned, but because the temperature was so hot, they decided that it'd be best interest to cancel. And it just makes me think that, it could be hard to plan in the future if there's going to be hot days that make people stay in. And it also kind of says to me that we need some place for people to go on the inside when it's a hot days too, like the community center or the youth center.
What if we did it earlier in the year?
They'll have to consider something.
Fall thing,
Year, later, yeah.
Oktoberfest.
Equinox instead of solstice.
And the Bath Township Library does have a cooling center for those people who need to get cooled down.
Okay.
Multiple contacts and misters.
Yeah. Fire truck.
Yeah, right. All right. Anything else? Report from Cheryl, BOT rep. Anything to share with us?
So one thing that you said about having the survey, I think that's the biggest impediment for the trail, because these reports of where is the property line, and where can we park, and where can we not park, and whose land are we gonna walk over, and it was so divisive about where it is, so that should help a lot. And beware that there seems to be a money shortage all in general in the township, that everybody's talking about raising taxes, et cetera. If that doesn't go through, I think we're gonna run into opposition for anything, is my sense of it, for money. Just beware. What we can do about it. Grants would be wonderful. DNR.
So I think in terms of, this committee, like grants are, we submitted one, it didn't get funded, which is surprising. It's, but we're thinking about how to do that. That's kind of the plan for getting, the impetus for getting one. The 5-year plan is required, but 2, the impetus so that we can be eligible for DNR Trust Fund grant and other, state and potentially federal grants as well. So, and I think, in terms of the quote unquote raising taxes, I think, we should be clear that there's a millage renewal and that otherwise the township doesn't raise taxes. I think we need to be talking clearly to residents of here, like, taxes increase because property values go up. That's not an increase that the township is imposing on people. That's how we as a country have chosen to generate revenue for a long time. And so I think that we need, as people who sit on committees, if we get asked questions like that, we need to be able to say, like, all things being equal, like, your taxes don't increase because the township imposes taxes on you. That's not, the state doesn't impose, unless there are new taxes, that's not how taxing works in the United States. So I think it's really, there is a lot of information out there that is being perpetuated by people who don't understand basic tax structure and policy, and I think that you as a board of trustee and us as a committee have the opportunity to be able to be very clear of how increase in tax value is, the taxable value is not an increase by the township in your taxes. It is not a decision the township is making. It is a decision of taxable value, but you also have more equity in your home. What you choose to do with that equity is up to you. And I like talking about taxes. It's super interesting to me. It's like, I like township budgeting, I like that kind of stuff. And so I think being able to, one, explain it, and two, it not become a personal attack is something that's important for, people who are representing the township, which we are as well, even though we're not elected, we are still representing the township in certain ways and places.
Like you said, that was a passion of yours, because I was like, wow, this is the most enthusiasm I've ever heard you talk about taxes.
It's great. It's super interesting, and like, right, it's exciting. It's like, and yeah, townships either, or cities, townships, villages, counties, in the system that we've created, they either grow or they die. So we can make a choice of what we would like to be here. And that's like essential service and flat growth means that for municipalities. And that's not me saying that, that's economic reality. So
On a level, just shifting the budget too, and just seeing where the money is, it's just not as available, particularly with the AARP, I think it was, the American Recovery Plan, just that money that just got inflated into the system. It's definitely always an issue.
I think it's the same conversation that we've been having, or some of us have been having, is like, why are all the roads getting fixed? Because bipartisan infrastructure dollars need to be spent by a certain date. There's no arguing on when that money has to be spent by, and so, like, it all is getting done for that reason. It's not to make you late for work. So if the money is there, the money needs to be spent. No one likes to give money back. The federal government doesn't want money back. So, all right. Anything else on board of trustees then? No? All right. So I think that speaking of that, right, I'm just pulling up the date. You can vote on August 6th. Before, I was going to see if it was before our next meeting. I didn't know if that was the early, yeah. So August 6th, remember to vote. However you choose to vote. But remember to vote. Please don't complain if you don't vote. Live a lot of other people in the back. All right. Any other member comments? No? All right. So motion to adjourn at 6:39. Look at that. Good work, Lee. Get a motion?
Motion to adjourn?
A second? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so menu adjourned at 6:40. We'll see you all